lovely. Hi, everybody. Really sorry for the short delay. Welcome back to the stage, and we're ready to start the second part of our presentation. The next one goes out to car lovers. UFO Drive are the company who are reinventing an $140 billion market with the future of car rentals, digital and electric. Not only they are offering a premium rental experience with an entirely electric fleet, but also a seamless rental process through the very user-friendly app. It only takes 2 minutes to rent a car, something they would call a ride and drive. UFO Drive try to encourage sustainable energy use and production, as well as reward their users for carbon savings by offering them various opportunities to drive their car again. Clean Technica have called UFO Drive the Tesla and EV rental company of the century. For all those in Berlin, the new UFO Hub is now open in the Apcor car park at the Mall of Berlin. Here to talk a bit more about UFO Drive is CEO Aiden Mclean. Aiden, welcome on stage if you can hear us. Aiden here. Hopefully we can get him on stage. We have a slight delay, I believe. Oh, we have a slight delay. I don't know if Aiden can hear us at all. Bear with us, everybody. Little technical problems. Okay, I think we've made it. Fantastic. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Good. Thank you for joining us. It's really great to have you today and get a company update from you. So would you like to just share our screen with us to make sure all is happening? Fantastic. Yes, we can see that. If you can put this on full screen if you can, that's great. Thank you. Well, I will leave the stage and I will come back in 8 minutes then. Thank you so much, Aiden.
Thank you. Well, hello, everyone. I am Aiden Mclean, the CEO of UFO Drive. I'm Irish, but I speak to you tonight from Luxembourg, where I've been living for the last 8 years. I'd like to maybe describe UFO Drive and explain our business with a question. What business had 10,000 stores, 84,000 employees, and over 5 billion in revenue this century and no longer exists? Many of you probably know it was Blockbuster Video. The Blockbuster business model, for those who remember, was a queue at a counter experience. Their business model didn't make a lot of money on the actual movies. They sustained their business with extras when you got to the counter, like candy, popcorn, and late return fees. Then came Netflix, and everyone knows the story. We believe the car rental industry today is Blockbuster Video. Why? It's the same experience. You queue at a counter, an average 50 minutes from desk to drive, and then they sustain their business models where they don't make a lot of money in the actual car rental with the extras like insurance, fuel options, upgrades, and surcharges. And I'm sure many of you have had the exact same experience as I had hundreds of times in my life. On top of that, we don't see the car rental industry embracing the electric revolution. We think they've completely failed to embrace the electric revolution. So our business is UFO Drive, and we're going to do to the car rental industry what Netflix did to Blockbuster. How are we going to do that? Well, we've completely automated the process, both front and back office. To rent a car with UFO Drive is just 2 minutes. And we've only got electric cars. For the purpose of this event this evening, I picked a photograph from one of our newest locations at Potsdamer Platz in Berlin. 100% electric, and not just Tesla. We have got Audi, we have got Jaguar, Hyundai, and Nissan, but mainly Tesla. But why electric cars? Often when I present electric cars as a solution, I get the 3 questions. You can't drive anywhere in terms of distance. The battery will never last, and you can't charge anywhere. All myths and all disproven. Since we launched UFO Drive 2 years ago this month, Our cars have driven 7 million kilometers across Europe. That's a real map of where our cars have been, and we have never had a range and charging issue. That's a map of the energy usage on each one of those cars in each one of those journeys. And the most encouraging thing is, for those thinking that electric isn't going to happen, 80% of customers that have taken our cars have never driven an electric car before. So why electric? Well, you know, we're speaking to a green and clean tech conference here, but by 2030, which isn't that far away, most European cities at least will have banned or severely restricted internal combustion cars. Regulation will kill the internal combustion car within the next 10 years. The manufacturers, thanks to the work done by Tesla, have now fully woken up and are doing massive reshift programs to turn fully electric. Indeed, Volkswagen, biggest European brand, one of the biggest global brands, is going full electric. Just a little fact, Tesla, never mind the recent share price surge, is now worth more than the 4 largest US car companies combined. And then finally, the consumer. I'm going to throw some statistics at you. In the 2 years we've been live, 97% of people who drive our cars say they will do it again. And that's 80% of people who never drove an electric car before. And 25% of our customers chose UFO Drive purely because it's a green and clean mobility solution. So environmental consciousness is very much alive. We're also appealing to those who don't own a car. I always wanted to own a car when I was 19 years old. It was my only obsession in life, but the newer generation don't. 64% of millennials have no intention of buying or owning a vehicle. We fit into their multi-day journey, not car sharing, not ride hailing, multi-day journey. So what's the market worth? It's enormous. And despite the virus, it is forecast to grow over the next 5 years. 1.2 billion rentals per year, $130 billion market, and it's going to grow by around 14% over the next 5 years. Our market share is at least 2 billion and growing. Now, how do we know this is going to work? Well, because we've done it already. In the 2 years since we launched, we are now in 16 locations and 8 countries. We have a 5-star customer rating and a net promoter score, which is 10 times better than the nearest customer or the nearest rental company. 97% of our customers will return. And because we've automated everything, both front and back office, and reinvented the industry, our margins are 3 times better than competitors. There are no staff at any of our locations. As I said, to reserve, retrieve, and drive takes just 2 minutes with UFO Drive. And customers get complete peace of mind because we've built an entire platform to ensure range, anxiety, and charging are never an issue. And we're only in prime locations. We're now in 11 cities and 5 airports across Europe in prime locations. We also try to encourage our customers to go electric, those who haven't driven before, by giving them a carbon saving statement for every kilometre they've driven, by giving them a loyalty credit for every 100 kilograms of clean driving they've done, and we make a sustainable donation, another euro for every 100 kilograms of carbon saved to clean energy funds. Where are we headed? Let's talk about numbers. I'm an accountant by background, so I can't help myself. We're looking at 45 million revenue by 2024, with just 1,600 cars, which is tiny in a car rental context. And we can achieve an EBITDA of 14 million with that, which is quite efficient, very efficient for this nature of business. I will tell you that we're all mature founders, myself, my co-founder, and all of the team. We're just 2% off our business plan since we launched the company, despite the virus. Now, on top of that, we've built our entire platform to be sold as a SaaS. Our EV management platform manages fleet and transition to electric fleets and is available as a SaaS. We launched it just before the virus broke. We signed and went live on our first customer in the last few weeks, and we have a pipeline of 10 customers lined up. We see a further 6 billion of EBITDA from the EV management platform alone. So this is what we've raised, 4 million euros to date since we launched the company. We're looking to do a Series A round right now, starting with a 3 million raise, which will be used to invest in our new locations, technology, and talent. We're hoping to start reopening locations from September, which we're working on right now. Now, what has COVID-19 done? Because you probably all heard the news about Hertz going bust, and it's, destroyed car rental. Far less than we expected. We were very worried at the beginning, back in March, but in fact, our customer base grew by 11% over the last 3 months. And the total bookings as of the 31st of May is just down 30% on the previous 3 months. So we're not seeing a catastrophic impact. We're seeing an immediate recovery in bookings. Berlin was one of the first cities to be eased off in the lockdowns when the Mall of Berlin reopened about 2 weeks ago, and Berlin has been fully booked out for us. So we think it's the attraction of a direct-to-car model, plus some additional measures we took to make sure the customer is reassured, and the fact that it's contactless that's attracting customers, and electric, of course. So we're very confident, despite the virus, that we are going to rebound. We see that already in the last couple of weeks. The consumer demand is there. There's increasing environmental awareness, and even more so since COVID-19. There is regulation pushing diesel and petrol cars out of cities and out of our countries, which will drive further electric mobility. We think we're the first mover. We've certainly got the locations and the technology. So I'm delighted if anybody would like to contact me regarding our current round in the information there below. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Aiden. Thank you for jumping in and getting this. Everybody's got a nice update from UFO Drive now, and of course, you may return to the event chat. And should any further questions arise, please feel free to contact Aiden. Thank you so much, Aiden, for that. Much appreciated. Well, thank you very much for that, Aiden. And now to the next company. Next up, we've got Climate Tech and Science meeting under the same umbrella. Right, based on science, have developed their very own software, which goes by the name of XDC, or X Degree Compatibility, which allows companies to effectively measure their contribution to climate change. What makes this unique, however, is that the XDC is based on the XDC Economic Climate Impact Model. And therefore, the results which are produced can be read objectively and easily since they are in Celsius. The model has already been receiving large interest due to its straightforwardness, practicality, and ability to deal with multiple scenarios. Large corporations such as Sanofi and Fraport are already using the model, and recently the company has announced their partnership with Solactive. Founder Hannah Helmke is on a mission to redirect capital in a more sustainable fashion. We are more than excited to have her here today to talk to us about this a little more in detail. Welcome, Hannah. Welcome on stage. Hi, Hannah. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. Thank you very much for having me.
Nice to have you here. Thank you so much.
So I'm going to share my screen.
Yes, please. You can share your screen.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
We got it all there. Perfect. Thank you. I will come back in 8 minutes. Thank you so much, Hannah. Thank you.
Okay, so good afternoon also from my side. My name is Hannah Helmke. I'm Managing Director and Co-founder of Right Based on Science. Today speaking from Frankfurt to you. Thank you very much for having me here. I'll just share the concept of temperature alignment analysis with you. So this is not a classical company pitch. I'll just introduce you to our work on temperature alignment analysis. So the first numbers that we have from the International Energy Agency in terms of the emission reductions in 2020 are actually quite exciting, because they say that emissions might reduce by 8% in 2020. And what we need as an annual emission reduction rate is 7.6% to be on track to the 1.5 degree goal by the end of the century, which is in scope of the Paris Climate Agreement. So the question now is, are we on track to be Paris aligned? And unfortunately, we're not. So that's a little bit disappointing, I know, but it takes a little bit more than just reducing emissions, because we need to decouple emissions from GDP. So in the Corona crisis, also GDP dropped significantly. So we did not experience a rate of decoupling between emissions and GDP. So for example, the EU Green Deal has the principle that the economy needs to learn to work without emissions that don't belong in a well below 2 degree world. So we need to decouple emissions from GVA. And based on this rate of decoupling, we measure whether a company or a country or a financial portfolio, for example, is Paris aligned, yes or no. So a high rate of decoupling means a low temperature alignment. A low rate of decoupling between emissions and GVA or GDP is a high temperature alignment. And this logic, this very simple logic, is the foundation of our so-called X degree compatibility model, which is an economic climate impact model that measures the contribution of a single economic entity on global warming. that economic entity can be a company, it can be a financial portfolio, it can be a country, it can be a single person, and the output is a very easy, understandable degree Celsius number. So a company can see immediately whether it operates along the lines of the Paris Climate Agreement, yes or no. And the problem now is that 47% of the companies in the Euro Stoxx 600 have an X degree compatibility above 2 degrees. So there's still a lot to do when it comes to green technologies, when it comes to reinventing business models. So there is a lot of demand for conferences like we're having today. And the companies, so the company Right Based on Science, which is computing and calculating whether a company or a portfolio is in line with the Paris Climate Agreement, is called Right Based on Science, which is the company that I founded together with my partner, Sebastian Müller, in 2016 in Frankfurt. And Right is not a consultancy, very important. We are a software and model development company. And right now we have 25 people in the team with various backgrounds. So from very technical people to business people, people who have studied law or also like real estate management belong to the team. And our clients, they come from the financial sector, and they also come from the they also come from the real economy. And that's quite interesting when the financial sector starts talking to the real economy about how they can actually accompany the transition of the real economy in order to avoid the risk that comes with not being Paris aligned. And we also have a very tight connection to academia, which makes our work even more exciting because we work with universities, master students, bachelor students, PhD students, professors on all open questions that still need to be resolved when you do something as complicated and complex as building an economic climate impact model. So the purpose and the mission of Right Based on Science is to increase transparency on climate-related risks and opportunities, because we really believe that there is enough knowledge and competency and skills in the market by decision makers that will make and take the right decisions once they have transparency about those climate-related risks and opportunities. An investment professional would probably not invest into a 4-degree company, but into a 2-degree company, because that 2-degree company has much better access to talent, it has much better access to capital, it's much more equipped to actually manage this transition to a world shaped by climate change. And the use cases and the clients that have interesting use cases are quite many already. Some of them you can see here. So Continental, for example, is a company with which we use the XDC model to design a demonstrable Paris-aligned climate strategy. So Continental wants to communicate to its external and internal stakeholders that all the different measures that they do within this huge company actually contribute to reaching the 2-degree target. Or GLS Bank, which is the largest sustainability bank in Germany, is now increasing the transparency about their promise to invest in a world or invest in companies that are in line with the Paris Climate Agreement. Also Zalando, we know them from the press now, is also one of our clients, and they use the model for risk management. So just want to remind you again, the Green Deal and what we need is a decoupling of emissions and GVA. Just reducing emissions does not help very much, because we need a healthy economic system that learns to avoid those emissions that should not be there in a well below 2-degree world. And I wanted to close with this because that's exactly what those conferences are there for, to meet people who have the same vision and to develop solutions exactly for that kind of decoupling, and if needed, if wanted, expressing this with the degree Celsius number with our XDC model that goes open source in 2021. So thank you everyone for listening, for being here. If you have any questions, just let me know, just reach out to me. I'll be happy to get in touch with you.
Hi, Hannah. Thank you so much. Thank you for that note in the end as well. And of course, we would encourage everybody to get in touch with you who would like to collaborate on that vision at the end. So thank you so much. And you may leave the stage. Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Thank you. Next up, have you ever thought about how to make your steps count? Well, London-based Pavagen have the solution for that. They are a leader in converting footfall into off-grid power, since they have developed a system that harnesses the kinetic energy and converts it into electricity. Each step on a Pavagen walkway can generate up to 7 watts of power. In return, with those steps, we are contributing to a low or no carbon future. Pavagen walkways have already been installed within large institutions like Google, Siemens, and the Abu Dhabi International Airport. They have also recently received a 2.6 million backing, making international expansion even more possible. So, on a clear mission to create smart cities through clean tech, and here to talk to us about this is CEO Lawrence Kemble-Cook, who's also an engineer with an energy industry background. So, welcome, Lawrence. Welcome on stage. Lawrence.
My screen. Can you see my presentation on the right?
Hello, Lawrence. No, you must share your screen first with us, please. You'll be absolutely fine.
You should be able to see my screen now. I'm Lawrence, the founder and CEO of Pavagen, and we make floors that generate energy from your footsteps. Now, I'm going to talk to you today a bit about how I see the world and the future using renewable energy from people's footsteps. So firstly, I'm scrolling through manually, apologies for this. So over half of us are living in cities, okay? Cities are growing at a faster rate than ever before. And we're also seeing deserts are growing. We're also finding there's mass deforestation happening. You can see here that the air quality is getting a lot worse, and the sea levels are rising around the world. Okay, so we are heading into some massive, challenging times ahead, with government targets being missed. Now, I think that sustainable revolution is best fueled through positive ideas and optimistic vision. So as humans, we tend to be motivated by positive language and optimistic messages, but the language around sustainability is constantly, and quite understandably, negative. We are told that we should stop flying. We are told we should stop using plastic, stop using air conditioning, stop. Now, if that's what motivated us, would our favorite advertising campaigns look like this? Coca-Cola being refreshingly calorific? Of course not. Remember the teacher at school who just told us off the whole time? The shock value is diminished. So most of us are driven by positivity. So there is some good news about climate change. 33% of the world's energy is now produced from green sources. The microgrids and also these energy grids are now lossless. You can transfer energy from the desert in the Middle East right to your home in the UK or in Germany. So cities are becoming smarter, with cities with unparalleled levels of intelligence, making cities a better place. So we believe that a good city is about somewhere that's smart, somewhere that's sustainable, has a wellness agenda to make it better for the people that live within the city itself. So with this in mind, I'm all about positivity and climate change. And I came up with an idea to capture the energy of a human footstep and to use this energy source as a new power source in urban areas. So my mission is to improve the world through the power of a human footstep, and also to be the digital layer in human cities. How am I doing that, you may ask? So we believe in creating a thing called the Internet of Beings. It's not about the Internet of Things, it's about the Internet of Beings of people, the human, the physical, and the digital working together. Now, how are we doing that? So we have this floor that when you walk on it, it moves around 5 millimeters. So every single step you make on our floor converts your energy into electrical power. Now, with our floor, you can install it outside and inside. it can work in some of the most high footfall areas. So just imagine, where are there lots of people walking? Train, and obviously not today, but very soon we hope the world gets back to normal. Train stations, airports, schools, offices, stadiums, the list goes on. So we've had some really exciting learnings from it, starting off with students. We first used the technology in a school and we made energy fun. Kids would jump up and down on our floor and really love walking on it. We then took it to a soccer pitch in Rio de Janeiro, where we used the power of people walking, the energy from their steps, power the lights on a soccer pitch itself. So the power of sport turned the lights on and kept them on, from something as simple as walking or running. We then took our technology to Africa as well, in soccer pitches there, and even powered gardens using the energy of people's footsteps. But now we've taken it one step further. So when you walk on our floor, not only will one step produce around 7 watts of power, but what the paving technology does, it also rewards your footstep. It rewards it onto your mobile device. So every step you can get rewarded, and you can do things like you can donate your steps to charity and do much, much more. Now, I started this idea in my bedroom. I imagine a lot of you are sitting at home at the moment, looking at this and thinking, what could you do differently? And I'm really lucky that I started at university. We've now taken our technology all around the world with some of the world's biggest companies. We're a team of 50 based in the United Kingdom, but working with some really exciting international brands you can see here. And we've taken the world by storm in terms of the media. No one else has really captured the idea that you can capture energy from a footstep as a business like us. So some of my favorite headlines here are paving the best till last. So some cheesy ones that came up. But some of the interesting deployments of PaveGen include in Romania, one of the busiest office buildings in Bucharest, in university facilities in the UK, where when people walk, it powers phone chargers in the benches and also lighting. And you can see here how the product looks. It's really easy to install in cities. We make it fun too. I believe that energy should be fun and should be really engaging. So in Hong Kong, as people walk, it lights up a bar chart that allows them to see their energy. And we've even recently made a running track in Hong Kong. As you run around the running track in the office building, it uses that power to power the lights in the building itself. And if anyone goes through Abu Dhabi Airport soon, not now, but hopefully in a few weeks' time, we're using our energy to power the lights in the corridor in the airport, but also make an interactive game that can show people how much energy is being produced. But imagine if your steps could make a difference, not just for the energy you're creating then and there, but if you could donate your steps. So the idea that you could actually earn money from your footsteps and donate that money. So here you could donate the steps to your family to actually make a real change. So I believe that we can connect people together with a technology as revolutionary as PaveGen. And a really, really good use case is, imagine if you could walk in a mall. Now, a shiny mall, a beautiful mall in a Western developed economy, but you could donate your footsteps to a community in need in Haiti. So every single step could count. And so we're working on a platform that allows brands to help to fund your step and make donations with your step. And we recently partnered, and it's very relevant, is with March for Humanity, with the Martin Luther King Foundation, so that every step can be donated. And imagine if we could use the power of all the people and all the protesters to actually do something that could be really positive towards change, rather than necessarily just pure destruction. So I think there's so much you could do with a technology like PaveGen that is all about people's footsteps. You know, we've had the Industrial Revolution. Now this is about the people-powered revolution, to show the power that we all have around us. And imagine what we can create and what new future environments can be created if we really put our mind into positivity and making a huge difference. So, you know, what's next for us? PaveGen started as just an idea. We've had tremendous growth to date. We're working in 36 countries. Corona hasn't affected us at all. We're busier than ever. No one got furloughed. The teams have all carried on. But we really see a huge opportunity where people can now take note of their communities, take note of the cities they live in to make a real change. So please shout out PaveGen on Twitter, P-A-V-E-G-E-N. I'm on Twitter as well, Lawrence KC, and also you can see Lawrence KC Graham for Instagram as well. So please reach out to us in social, let us know if you've got any questions, and we really hope you can help change the world using PaveGen and your support. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Lawrence. What a great presentation. Really got us thinking there. Thank you so much for joining today. You may return to the event chat if you'd like to answer any questions or join in. But yeah, thank you so much. And you may leave the stage. Thank you. Cool. Well, now we are nearing the end with the last presentation of the day that we are really, really excited about. Our last company for today wishes to challenge us with a simple question. Why do we not own an electric car yet? What are the reasons for stopping us taking our climate action a step further? Established just over 4 years ago, Munich-based Sono Motors envisages the world of mobility completely fossil-free. They are the proud manufacturers of the Zion, the first electric car which charges itself with the power of the sun. In a day like today, you could park the Zion, and when you returned, you'd probably find the battery fully recharged. Another important fact, the Zion is produced with 100% renewable energy, proving that to Sono sustainability is not just an empty word. Lauren Han, co-founder and CEO of Sono Motors, is here today to talk about the exceptional journey him and his best friend from school, Jona Christians, have embarked on to disrupt driving once and for all. Welcome, Lauren. Welcome on stage. Hello. Hi. How are you?
Hi, pretty good.
Looking good. I like your background.
From Munich, Germany. How are you?
Hi.
Well, happy to call today. Let me just share my screen there.
Let's see your presentation. That would be great.
Give me a second there. Yeah, well, hi everyone. I'm Lauren, co-founder and CEO of Sono Motors. We are a Munich-based company, automotive industry, a totally different topic. And what we basically do is we build affordable solar power cars and enable sharing. And if you go back on what is the main problem for electric vehicles, you just see up top in the bar there, you can vote on what is your main problems, and you would quickly see if you click on one of them, there's several different problems you're having still today with electric vehicles. What we're trying to solve is 3 main problems: climate change, no mass market electric vehicle because of price, range, and infrastructure, and there are just too many cars on the road as we're having it today. And when you look into how we're trying to solve it, we believe in a world in which every car is electric and shared. This is the way where we want to go. And if you look, into the industry, what happened in the last 100 years, this is a very old industry. It's very sophisticated, but this industry was very good in building combustion engine cars. And now, all of a sudden, we standing at the same starting line. This industry is getting disrupted, and this old industry needs to shift to electrification, smart mobility, and autonomous driving. And this is exactly what is happening now. This is exactly the window of opportunity we're having right now in this industry. And if you look back in time, it has been done before. 17 years ago, there was a company which launched the Volkswagen Beetle. And it was back then affordable, practical, and reliable. And they actually, solved the problems of that time. And what we're doing is we're bringing this approach into the 21st century and trying to solve the problems of today. And moving forward, we introduced the Zion. It's the first ever solar mass-produced electric vehicle. It's a family-friendly van. It's 21,000 euro. It has a decent range. It has solar panels integrated in the whole car body, so it's recharging itself. And it has sharing services integrated into the whole car body. And people start asking us, does it really make sense to put solar into a car? Doesn't it just make sense to put it on the roof? And the answer is no, it definitely makes sense. it definitely makes sense. Why? Because it's, it's cheaper than paint, it's more robust, it's lighter than glass, and we managed to integrate it into whole car body. And through that, we're getting 33 kilometers a day being recharged through the solar panels. And it might not sound very much, but the truth is, in average, we're driving only 17 kilometers a day in Europe. That's the average commute we're having. And that's why people buy a car. And this car here is exactly solving this problem. Being independent, no need for infrastructure of the battery. So the main problems you just voted for in the survey here on the top right, we are addressing. And if you move forward, we get a lot of questions like, what do you do differently to Tesla? Or is there, what about the big OEMs? How can you compete against Volkswagen and all that? And this slide is exactly the answer to that question. Why? Because we're doing 6 things differently. First, we only have one variant, no options. Second, we use off-the-shelf components, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We do online direct sales, so we're having, we save the dealer margin. We have no own factory, so no hassle with production. We do it the Foxconn Apple model, where we're having the engineering in-house, but let produce a third party. And the last one is, the fifth one is no steel stamping tools. We have an aluminum space frame. We don't need toolings. It's not cost intensive as like a Tesla or a Volkswagen. And the last one is we don't need a paint shop. We just don't need a paint shop. Why? Because of solar. Moving forward, you might know this one, but a car stands idle approximately 24 hours a day, every single day. And this is exactly what we're trying to tackle by saying, why not delivering sharing services with each vehicle being delivered? And this is exactly what we're doing. We're offering ride sharing and power sharing and car sharing integrated into the car with no extra cost and with no investment for us. So it's, it's a peer-to-peer model, it's community-based, and you can just share the car whenever you want and if you want to make money. So it's basically the Airbnb on wheels. Being said that, this is not just, a concept. No, it's already, in place, and we're having already 13,000, almost 13,000 down payments, equivalent to net revenues of 270 million locked revenues, which is pretty decent for a new car company entering the market. And you see here how it evolved over the last couple of months and couple of years, which was, people love that product. And because they love it so much, in the history of Sono Motors, we went a lot about, creating this community. And what we did is actually launching a crowdfunding campaign just at the beginning of this year. So it was closed in January 2020. And we collected within 50 days, 53 million euros. So this is awesome because it was the biggest hardware crowdfunding campaign ever been made. And it showed us 2 things. First, there is a market, a huge market potential for this electric vehicle. And second, there is a huge community behind Sono Motors who really, really wants to see this product on the market. Last but not least, I want to close this presentation with just showing what is really the impact, because I know that a lot of people saying, hey, is an electric vehicle really more sustainable, or is it really having an impact on the climate, and what about batteries, and what about the resources there? So we also being very critical about where the resource is coming from. But on this slide, we just want to show you what is the potential on the sustainability if you invest or if you cooperate with us. to see the potential there. And it has an impact. It has a huge impact in terms of saving CO2, in terms of not even emitting CO2. And the last one is just saving cars. 2.6 million cars can be, not even produced if you just share our 270,000 vehicles over a lifetime of 8 years, which is fantastic, which is really, for me, the best outcome we can have. Not even producing cars instead of making them greener. Closing with that picture, this is bi-directional charger. What we ask ourselves is basically, what can we do if the car's just standing around and the battery's full and you're on a vacation? What are you doing with the energy? When the battery is full, you cannot do anything there. And we came up with the idea of bi-directional charging, so you can actually recharge other electric vehicles. We charge the Tesla, we charge the i3, BMW and stuff, because it's just logic. And I think it shows us the potential, what is here behind these cars, because there is a huge potential for that one. Thank you so much, and I'm happy to close this awesome conference.
Hi, Lauren. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
We may have just time for a little question because we're running ahead of time. Sebastian Daus is talking to us on the chat. So he has asked, since it's optimized for the current use, how will range and battery keep up if usage is increased due to sharing? So we may have time for that last question.
So basically what we looked into, I don't know if I get the question right, but if you looked into it on the longevity of the battery and said, okay, how can we optimize that? And in terms of the solar integration, actually the battery has a longer life than if you don't have a solar integration. Why? Because you're already recharging this battery, and this has a huge impact on the battery life. So it's better for the battery, but of course, if you have sharing, you use it more frequently, but you get also paid for it. It's like Airbnb. Your flat gets more used, but you receive money for it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much for that. I mean, the stage is open for a little bit more. So if anyone wants to chat to Lauren directly, you may do so. And you may leave the stage for the closing words for us. Thank you so much, Lauren.
Yeah, thanks so much. It was great. Actually, I see right now the survey there in the left corner, which I couldn't see it when I was presenting. It's pretty interesting.
Yes.
So 44% were, voted on infrastructure, range, and then price. This is exactly about it. All the people have exactly this mind: range, price, and infrastructure. Pretty interesting to see there.
Exactly. So if anybody else still hasn't voted, you may vote now, and Lauren will pass on those votes for you. And then if we want to take the discussion further after the event, that would be great.
Great. All right. Thank you so much. It was good.
Thank you so much. It was great. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
Have a good one.
Thank you. You too. Thanks. Well, we are nearing the end of the event, as Lauren was our last speaker. So from my end, I would just like to say thank you for everybody who has stuck with us until the end of this event. Thank you to the TOA team and the Beam team who has helped this happen. And of course, we would really appreciate your feedback. What you liked today, what you didn't like, what was your favorite thing to see, and how you enjoyed using our software, because this will help us going forward with other things we are planning. So please stay in the loop with our other TOA news. We will leave the backstage and I will let you go. Enjoy the sun. Thank you very much for being here, and hopefully see you in the next TOA Beam Summit. So please keep yourself posted on our news. Thank you, guys.